Welcome on to the first ever episode of the... Why are you shaking your head?
I don't know, it's just funny we're doing it. But this is the Johnston Twins podcast.
No, this is the What Matters podcast.
What Matters podcast.
Yes, where we are going to be talking about things that matter in life. And my brother and I have had a lot of deep conversations over the years, and we think it'd be really cool to share that with everyone else. And just talk about topics that you usually wouldn't want to discuss or have never really dove into. So basically, I'm going to go over quickly how these episodes are going to go.
Oh, one thing too I'd like to add in is I am incredibly grateful for my twin who I've been able to have these types of conversations with. And we do understand there are a lot of people out there that haven't been able to have somebody in their lives going through the same types of experiences and learning the same lessons with. So in a way, maybe we're like the viewers, maybe we're like your brother or something, just telling you about what we learn in life. But this is a bunch of things that we have experienced and gone through and learned and thought about.
Not even just that, but also like what we are learning.
And what we are learning. Yeah, we don't know everything, obviously. And this is a means that we can communicate with you guys.
Yeah, well said. So the way these are going to look is they're going to be, we're going to record them when we can. We're going to shoot for 2 or 3 a week. And it's just going to be a 30-minute...
2 or 3 a week?
Maybe more. What?
Okay.
What are you thinking?
I don't know. I mean, it feels like a lot. Like a podcast is a lot to edit, bro.
It's only 30 minutes. I believe this can be streamlined.
Okay. All right. Maybe we'll figure it out. Maybe we'll do 2 or 3 a week. It's a lot, though. But maybe we will. Who knows?
It is.
Lord willing.
It's going to be 30-minute uncut episodes. Where we're just going to talk about...
Dude, we could talk about crazy crap. I don't think uncut. There might be some cuts. Go ahead.
Hold on. This is going to be cut. Each episode is going to be 30 minutes of us just talking. And we'll be talking about deep conversation topics or business topics and really just trying to learn and go over things that we have learned, important things that can ultimately move us all forward. And everything is going to be what matters. We don't want to be talking about things that don't matter, junk.
No fluff in this.
Yep. So, today's topic. Let's just talk about why we're doing this. Why are we doing this?
Well, as I kind of said earlier in this podcast, that I believe as twins, we've been able to go through a lot of life together. And because we're twins, we've been able to reflect upon that life together as we go through it, which I think has been incredibly useful for us because I think a lot of the time you learn stuff about yourself when you're alone or in conversation, but you have to be thinking or discussing, like your brain has to be actively thinking about things that are related to your past experiences that you're reflecting on. And for us, that has been really easy because we have somebody that we can look at who's basically me. So I think it's easier to see the flaws and room for improvement in somebody else than yourself. And because we're twins, it's like, I can look at him, it's like, oh, he's being arrogant. But then it's like, oh, wait, I'm like him. I'm probably being arrogant too. And that's been incredibly useful. So the reason why, at least that comes to me, why we are doing this is because we believe that people we believe that there is a demand, well, not really a demand. I'm trying to figure out the best way to word this. We have something valuable to share with our audience from what we've learned in life so far. And we believe genuinely that it can help our audience to live a better, more fulfilling, effective life that, ultimately tackles what actually matters, like, about life. And this isn't just like...
What matters about life? Let's go there.
Okay, I guess we're going to talk about that. Well, I believe that this podcast is not designed to be a Christian podcast. This is hosted by Christians. But I really thoroughly hope that this podcast is not only watched by Christians, because that is part of what matters. As a Christian, is truly representing what you believe in. And for us, that is the Bible.
Definitely not perfect at it, far from, but trying to get closer every day.
It's an active process.
And that ultimately is what we both believe matters. You can have anything else, all the material goods or whatever, but there's our dog. But if you don't have Jesus and if you don't have God, then you've got nothing. You're going to die and everything's just going to go away.
Everything is dust.
Yep.
And even if you're not a Christian, like, you still recognize that you're going to die one day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So yeah, let's just go. I think what you said is great about how, we've had some great conversations in the past and whatnot, and it would be great to share that.
I'm going to let the dog in.
Okay.
Sorry, time out.
Resume. Yeah, I like what you said about how we've had great conversations about our lives and, what matters per se, and the really important stuff. But as far as why, and I think sharing that with the people is super, super important, but I also think a lot of the why behind doing this podcast and starting this podcast from a business standpoint is just, you have to start it at some point. My brother and I have been talking about doing something like this for a while, and haven't gotten around to it. So us just being here and yapping is a huge accomplishment, I think. Like, we're just actually doing this, and we're actually just going to upload it. And, like, even though I'm sitting in a chair that we just picked up from our porch, it's got, like, bird
I'm
poop
sure,
on
as you
it or
can tell,
something.
our studio is pretty 5-star.
Yeah.
It's just like tripod. It's a little freaking rat Mimo, what is it called?
Yeah.
Camera, Osmo over there, and they're just 2 freaking patio chairs. And we're doing it, but, the best time to start is now, because if you don't start now, then you're probably not going to do it.
Yeah.
So Michael Jordan, I just said it in a different video, Michael Jordan couldn't dunk when he first picked up a basketball, so yeah.
Yeah. So this is basically that starting point. And, I look forward to future episodes where we can get more.
Freaking cicadas are everywhere, bro.
Yeah, and by the way, I am not a cicada fanatic. Let's talk about, we should talk about my cicada video. Because a lot of people are, like, hitting me up and just sending me, like, other videos of people eating cicadas or, like, cicada recipes and stuff. And I'm just, like, kind of losing it.
Losing it? How? Like, is it
just
annoying?
because, well, it's very annoying, but it's also just, because I decided to make that video, I've all of a sudden been branded as a cicada person. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but I did not choose to make the cicada video for the purpose of cicadas. I do not have a crazy passion about cicadas at all. I made the video because I wanted to start making content, and I really wanted to start making videos for my Instagram and grow my social brand. And cicadas just happened to be
something that was, like, easy to make content on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. It's just, I don't know where you guys are in the world watching this, but long story short, there's a 13-year cicada and a 17-year cicada, and somehow the 13 and 17-year cicadas are coming out at the same time this year. And this summer has just been insane. They've been everywhere.
Yeah.
Context.
But ultimately, I don't want to make videos about cicadas at all.
Yeah.
I want to make videos about things that I find interesting or that I'm passionate about, but also make it interesting enough so that other people, for example, like cars. Like, I love cars, but a lot of other people aren't super passionate about cars. So how could I make cars also interesting for other people? And what is the purpose of starting to make these social media videos? Because you're also doing it too.
Yeah.
You have, like, your handstand video and whatnot.
Yeah.
Why are you making social media videos?
I would say because it's one of those things that The parable of the talent is basically, again, we're Christians. I believe that being a Christian involves being the best version of yourself. And God has given me and my brother talents with videography. So the parable of the talent goes along the lines of a master giving they're not really slaves, but they're called slaves, bags of gold. And there's 3 of them. One of them goes and invests it. The other one goes and, I don't know what he does, like he works or something. I don't know, but he makes more gold. And then the last one buries it in a hole. And he saves it, but doesn't do anything with it. So when the master comes back, he looks at all 3 of the different slaves and what they've done with the bags of gold. I don't know if they're slaves, but that's just what I remember.
Yeah.
The people, the servants is the word. And he's happy with everybody. The guy that invested his gold, the guy that worked with his gold, but he's disappointed in the one that buried it. And as a Christian, it's viewed like that is the talent. From my perspective, your gold are the talents that the Lord has given you. And if I've been given the ability to do this type of stuff and I'm not doing it, I am burying my gold bag. I'm not utilizing the gifts and talents and abilities that the Lord has given me.
So you believe like your abilities to work with the camera and edit are like a bag of gold? And
To an extent. And I mean, like, also sharing what we learn. Like, we're fascinated with living our lives in the most effective way possible and the most purposeful way possible. And I think that hiding that is also hiding a bag of gold.
Yeah. Let's talk some more about purpose. Purpose, I mean, you guys already know this podcast is going to be called What Matters. So culture today is always just telling us what makes you happy. And just do that. Why is purpose more important?
I think if I wasn't a Christian, I don't know why happiness would not be would not be the sole
Really?
aim.
So you don't think like, if you were just an atheist, like, you would be okay with chasing like temporary highs?
I mean, there's no objective morality.
Well, I feel like there were atheists back, a long time ago.
Well, why
That
would
could
you
have
do
been-
anything if you're an atheist?
Well, because you can still get dopamine hits.
Exactly, happiness.
But what about like, serving something bigger than yourself, even if it's not like a god, like if it's like a culture? Like there'd be people in armies, per se. They may
Yeah.
not believe in a god. They most likely would, but some of them probably
So
would.
maybe I should make it more clear. If I was atheist and did not have a belief in a god or a higher power or a higher purpose that was meaningful, I don't know why I wouldn't chase happiness as sole number one priority.
So what is the importance from a higher purpose, or from?
Well, okay. Now I feel like we need to figure out more structure for a podcast because we're jumping around a lot. But I will say
It's a work in progress.
it's a work in progress, and we're actually doing it. And this will show us how we need to improve.
Yeah.
So you guys know that.
Yes, we are also taking notes on ourselves. We're going to be judging ourselves just as much as in the editing process as
Yeah.
you guys are judging us right now.
Okay, so the question was,
Yeah, why is purpose more important than happiness?
why is purpose more important than happiness? Okay. All right, so as Christians, we are not our own. And I think that's probably just the recognition that you were created influences that nothing is created without a purpose. I don't think. Anything that you see on Amazon or anything that you see at a store was created either to be functional or as a joke or just for fun. But it was created for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And when you believe that there's a God or a creator, you must have been made for a purpose, is one thing I will say. And then, I don't feel like I'm I don't feel like I'm rolling with this yet.
This is rough.
It's
This
like
is
I know
really
what I
rough.
would say if this was like a one-on-one conversation, but now it's just like a weird. I guess not weird, but it is kind of weird. Like just being in front of a camera and having to explain my ideas.
It is weird. Let's talk about that.
And it's also good too because when you talk about this stuff, it's like practice for when you are gonna have these conversations and you
Yeah.
need to know what you're gonna say. So it's still very useful.
No, it is very weird with the cameras because what normally would be very easy to just say back and forth,
Yeah.
all of a sudden you know that there's like a third party watching. And I mean, we're both not really camera shy at all. We've had a lot of experience being in front of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
But this is definitely different because this isn't like you're in character. You're literally just
being yourself.
trying to have a conversation and be brutally honest and
Yeah.
just let your mind flow as it would normally, but it's very different.
Yeah. And from what I've seen for other podcasters is you give them time and it just becomes natural.
Yeah.
Like they don't think there's no difference between being on the podcast in front of a camera and just being yourself. Obviously there's like a little bit of a filter that most people have. So you can't say literally everything online.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a process and it's developed.
For sure. Yeah.
And we wouldn't develop it unless if we were doing this. So
Yep. So we're developing further. That's a good thing. On your most recent reel you're making, you were talking about. What are you talking about?
What, my handstand?
You're just filming it.
Oh, yeah, I was just filming content. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right here. Let's see. The first one I was announcing that I'm going to be posting wisdom style reels. So literally kind of like stuff that's going to be in this podcast. It's going to be very similar content, except I'm just like talking straight to the camera. And we'll see, like, if we do this podcast enough and it turns out well, then I guess I don't really see the whole point of having that going.
I was thinking we could literally like collab post the
Yeah.
wisdom things.
Or collab post.
And that's part of it too.
Are we going to make an Instagram for this?
No.
Should be you and me.
Yeah. Just collab posting. I don't see much of an issue with it. Because if you make an Instagram or you make a whole YouTube channel or whatever for every little sector, then it really just dilutes
So where are we going to post this uncut video?
YouTube.
On what?
Johnston Bros.
Okay.
Yeah. Where were we going?
My video.
Yeah, your video.
What about it?
Or collab posting. Yeah, I think another big thing is, well, collab posting has been very difficult for us, or like the concept of it. Just because growing up as a twin, it's very difficult sometimes to find your own identity. Because whenever anybody talks about you, they're talking about, oh, the Johnston brothers. It's not Andrew, it's not Matthew. Now, given there are definitely times when it is like that, but in general, it's just like, hey, you want to invite the Johnston twins or something?
Yeah.
And that can be, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
It's not with bad intent.
No, absolutely not. It's also just like naturally, like we're definitely not those twins that will always dress up the same.
twins.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like we have this crazy gift, you could say, of knowing each other so well and whatnot. Yeah, but like back to the difficulties or whatever of it, kind of like when you grow up so similar, like you have the same friends, you have the same interests.
Mm-hmm.
We're both big into cameras, and trying to be different is super hard. So we've had a hard time opening up to the idea of embracing being twins because we've been trying to be so different for so long. So us collab posting is going to be I think it'll be good for us because it's kind of
Yeah.
like we've been trying so hard to stay apart, and now we're just like, all right, well, frick it. Like, we're so similar, whatever. Like, why would we fear the judgment of man being like, oh, they're the same, you know?
Yeah. The one thing I do find kind of interesting or cool about it, though, is that it's still two accounts posting it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like we're being put into the same box.
Yeah.
Under one account. Just a thought. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but, yeah.
No, I think that's good. I think that's really good.
Tired, bro.
Why are you tired?
I don't know. Well, I mean, I got up kind of earlier. No, I got up at 11. That's not early.
You woke up at 11?
What?
I thought you got up
at
way
like
earlier.
1, probably.
I did.
Yeah, you freaking potato.
I'm not a potato, though. I was at working last night. You know that.
Yeah, he was working. We got a lot of business stuff going on. You know what? This is another thing. At the end of this podcast, we're going to talk about everything we need to. Are we almost at the end of this podcast, too?
Let me see.
Like, this is what I was going to
We
say.
have 2 minutes.
We have, like, no freaking structure right now. We're jumping from thing to thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're not planned out.
Yep.
And I think that we both knew this was going to happen.
Yep.
Which is almost a good thing. Like, I hope that this podcast gets 0 views. Actually, maybe I hope it goes viral, but gets, like, 10,000 dislikes because people, like, are like, this is the worst podcast I've ever seen. Because there's a lot of room for improvement.
Mhm.
And this is a stage that has to happen.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that it's actually happening. So, we need to go to the drawing board, write down a bunch of things that we have to do to prepare for this type of thing. Like, we're literally just winging it right now. And this is something that we could get good at with time, I bet, but, like, we're not there right now. And we need to write down what the purpose of our podcasts are, what matters in each specific podcast.
Yeah.
And then have, like, a list of things to go through and figure that out. And we also need to, I think, watch YouTube videos about how people structure their own podcasts. Because I guarantee they're out there. Like, you could learn anything this day and age with an internet connection and intentional desire to learn.
Yep.
You can learn anything on YouTube pretty much.
Yep.
Unless you want to be a doctor.
We should talk about that one, too. We should make that a topic.
how, like, you can literally do anything nowadays.
Yeah. And about college, too. And yeah, there's a
That's a
lot
good
of
idea.
stuff to dive into.
No, there's, like, there's basically endless topics.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, if you made it this far in the video, thank you.
You're probably alone.
Yeah. Yeah, we literally just ran through it like a bull in a china shop. And the great news is that there's going to be a lot of stuff to learn and reflect on and plan for future episodes. So, thank you for joining us on the What Matters podcast. We'll clap it up for you, not even us, just you for watching. Because seriously,
They did the hard work.
The bar is down here, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in, and be looking out for more content
Yeah.
on both of our social medias, Instagrams, and also podcasts. I promise the next one will be better than this one. That's it, bro. Always improving every single day. As long as you're improving, you're moving in a good direction.
Yeah.
And also velocity. That's another one we got to talk about is the mental laziness versus physical laziness.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff in there.
Yep.
All right. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you have a great morning, night,
Afternoon.
oh, there goes our thing. I almost timed it perfectly.
You should just end it right as the timer goes off.
You know what? Maybe we
Morning,
will.
Night or
All right. Bye.
ciao, guys. Okay. Cool.
Wow. That was rough.